Good evening, guys. Delighted again to be joined by Dave Allen. Dave, thanks for giving up your time as always. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good.
Good stuff, good stuff. Dave, haven't had you on for a little while, so we're going to take it straight back to the Luis Ortiz fight. First and foremost, obviously, great performance in that fight. I guess it's risen your profile substantially. Looking back on it, are you glad you made the decision to go into that fight?
Yeah, I'll just go through all that quickly. The Ortiz fight came up the week before the Malik Scott fight. Eddie said it was a possibility, so we had 4 weeks from that point. We had two when it was a confirmed definite. It was 2.5 weeks. But the problem is, I was way out of shape when the fight was offered, but I couldn't turn the fight down like that. So I took it. I trained the best I could prepare in the 3 weeks that I could train. I got my weight down as much as possible. Some people said you wasn't in great condition. Maybe I wasn't in great condition, but with the time allotted I got down, I trained the best I could. I took him 7 rounds. I showed a little bit more of my boxing ability this time. It was very disappointing because it was brilliant. I'm not saying I could have beat him, but if I was fully fit or even in the same shape of the White fight, even if I was half fit, I took it the distance and give him a few problems. He's a very good fighter, but he just struggled with movement, and I can move, and I showed that in the fight. Obviously I showed I could take a punch yet again, and like I say, I don't regret it at all. It's risen my stock considerably. Matchroom are starting now, we're working together. Starting on the whole bill, so I've come out of it well.
Fantastic. Well, that's great to hear. And you mentioned working with Matchroom there, which I guess was the logical next area I wanted to discuss. So obviously you're on the whole bill. Is this a sort of one-off deal that you've got with Matchroom at present?
Well, we're going to fight in Hull. We win in Hull. We'll be out again pretty soon after. I think that's the plan. A few fights, a few good winnable fights, and then the British title. I think that's definitely my plan. In Matchroom, it all starts with the Hull bill. Boxing Hull, I impress. And I think Matchroom will have me out again pretty soon after. So it's all about February 25th now and impressing then.
That's fantastic news. I mean, that sounds absolutely spot on, mate. And what type of opponent? Obviously, I know there's no opponent that's been identified yet. But in terms of the type of opponent, are we expecting a Jason Gavern type, that sort of operator for this comeback fight?
I think we're going down a few steps now, and not just from the Ortiz fight. My 8th or 9th fight was Fabrizio Young, the French champion. Then it was Jason Gavin. Even them 2 fights came too early in my career. Never mind the White and the Ortiz fight. So, my next fight I think is going to be a 6-rounder with an Eastern European opponent with a good record. And then after that, we've singled out an English opponent. Not a big name, but an English opponent with a good record. So we have got it all mapped out. We've got that side of it's mapped out. My training is now on point. I've got a strength and conditioning coach. I've got a nutritionist, physio. We're treating it now I'm the contender now. I'm not the opponent like I was in the Ortiz and White fight. Now we're going to give it a proper go and see where we can get to, because taking the White and Ortiz fight, and putting in good performances, I've given my son a chance now to be the home fighter or the contender or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I think things are working out well.
Good. No, that sounds like a plan, Dave. And what are you going to do for training?
As of right now, I'm training with my dad. My dad's not trained any fighters. He's trained a fighter for one fight. But, he was a top international amateur. He has 30 pro fights, so he knows his stuff. He trained me as an amateur. We trained together for 8 fights before I moved on and we didn't get along too well. But at that point, I had 8 amateur fights, won all 8. I won a national title. My dad's guidance. He's a hard taskmaster. I've got my manager as well, Marston, helping out 1 day a week. Like I said, the strength conditioning side, the nutritional side, everything like that is all sorted now. So, and that was the main thing. The talent's always been there. It's all right me saying this, but it's been said. I've got a natural talent for the game. So, if I'm fit, everything's done correctly. The eating and the training, with a little bit of tweaking certain things, the offensive side of things, I can be successful in the game, and that's all coming together now at the same time.
Definitely. I had a look at some of your posts on social media recently, and you're looking in pretty good nick, Dave. If you don't mind me saying, probably better nick than you were for the Ortiz fight. So, have you been in the gym over Christmas? You mentioned you had a bit of a cold over Christmas. Did that help loose? Get yourself into shape?
Well, after the Ortiz fight, I went straight back into the gym, running, 5 or 6 times a week, doing light weights, with friends, just going into the gym every day. My tongue was very bad. I couldn't eat properly. I wasn't on solid foods for 2 weeks. I was still carrying a little bit of not a list, but I'm still struggling to eat. Still struggling to speak correctly a little bit. So food was kind of, I've lost weight due to a mixture of things, be it my tongue mainly at first, and also training and for the last 8 days now. I've been on the correct food that I've been given by my nutritionist. We've been training 2 or 3 times a day, apart from the weekends. So the weight has come off, but building fitness and strength and everything like that, it's not the whole show. That's not going to be me 100%. It takes 12 months, 18 months to build a real base of fitness and endurance and everything. So we're starting right. We're stripping myself right down, and we're going to build up correctly, and hopefully we're going to do that with the help of Matchroom also. Definitely.
For those people who are listening, Dave, who maybe aren't aware of the tongue situation, is it correct to say that you pretty much, I don't want to say bit through your tongue, but bit a hole in your tongue, like an inch long or something of that nature in the Ortiz fight?
Yeah, the laceration itself was about 1.5 inches long.
Right.
On the tongue. And also about 1.5 centimeters inside the tongue, like from the end inwards. It was a puncture straight through the tongue, the whole of it, a bit straight through. So it's taken some healing. I still can't spar for another 3 to 4 weeks. So the whole fight. The opponent maybe not. It's not going to be a household name. It's not going to be the easiest fight in the world. At the same time, I don't want easy fights, but the tongue. The tongue has took some time to heal, so that's playing a bearing in things as well.
Makes sense. In terms of the experience you've had in the ring so far, clearly, as you said yourself, some of the fights came probably too early in your professional career. Having said that, there's some suggestion that a loss early on, can be a huge benefit to a fighter. If you look at, Bernard Hopkins, Johnny Nelson, those sort of characters, do you kind of have an instinct that someone's 0 or unbeaten record kind of means too much in boxing sometimes, and you're very much of the mindset that this is added some sort of benefit as opposed to being a negative in any way?
Yeah, because I'm 9-1 now, but I'm probably the most well-known 9-1 fighter in Britain right now.
Yeah, you definitely are. Yeah.
And also, there's heavyweights in Britain like 8-9-0, 6-7-0, and they never box anybody. Nick Webb's 9-0 with 8 knockouts, but what has he really learned in all that time? I boxed if you include Larry Olabamio, who was a domestic level operator at one point, a year and a half before I boxed, I boxed 5 domestic level opponents. I boxed 2, you could argue, 2 world class opponents. Gavin's been in with all of them, the French champion, good fighter, really good fighter, in fact. So, in terms of exposure and in terms of learning, I'm miles ahead of everyone that's not in the top 6-7 in Britain. So, and the losses mean nothing to me. They don't knock my confidence. They're doing nothing like that. So, I've only built from it. If more fighters did the same, we'll all be better fighters for it. I'm 100 times better fighter for the Ortiz fight. I can tell even on the pads, so much more aware of things and stuff. You learn from it, and I think I've got a good boxing brain anyway. So when I'm in with these kind of fighters and learning and picking up certain things, that can only help. So if fighters look at my record and say, he's got 2 losses on there now, I just think you might be unbeaten, but you're not boxing anybody. And what have you really learned in beating them? So I know I didn't learn from beating certain types of opponents exactly the same like they've been boxing.
Absolutely. And I guess next time you're in a fight that's a 50-50 fight, you'll be able to hopefully draw on those experiences that you've learned, and that'll be the difference maker, I guess.
Well, the next time I'm going to be in a 50-50 fight or a 50-50 fight like people perceive. I will win it. There's going to be no more fights. The Ortiz fight was a 95-5 fight in his favour. The Dillian White fight, at the time, was probably an 80-20 fight. There's not going to be any more of them now. When I box for the British title, which I believe will be in 2017, I will win it. And we're going to build up to that. We're going to do it correctly. The training's going to be correct. The matchmaking is going to be correct. It all starts in Hull. Even if it's not the best opponent, the performance has to be great because I want to keep Matchroom on side, and they can deliver me the British title this year, and that's what this year is all about. I believe I can get to the top of the sport. I've got all the physical attributes. It's all about learning now and knuckling down and getting to the correct shape to bring out the best in myself.
Absolutely. Well, I'm massively pleased for you to be with the work with Matchroom. I think that's fantastic. Fantastic development, Dave. Look, I know you're on a tight timescale tonight, Dave, so I'll let you pop off, mate. But thanks very much for catching up with us again, and hopefully we can get you back on, a few months down the line, perhaps, and have a bit of an update later.
Of course, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Dave. Have a good evening, mate. Bye now.
You too, mate. Bye. Bye.